Here is the genius strategy behind Prateek Suri's billion-dollar empire and how you can use it too. You've probably seen Prateek's name featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Yahoo Finance as the visionary founder of Tech Gadget, a Dubai-based electronics powerhouse taking on global giants. Behind the headlines is a remarkable story of innovation, grit, and strategy. This is how he built his billion-dollar empire from the ground up and the genius mindset that made it possible. We're revealing the blueprint behind his rise to billionaire status. So watch until the end to learn the wealth-building principles behind his success and how you can apply them in your own financial journey. Before he became a billionaire, challenging global tech giants from Dubai, Prateek was just a curious kid in India with a passion for how things worked, not how much they cost. He grew up in India, in a middle-class household where ambition was encouraged, but resources were tight. From a young age, he was fascinated by engineering, the circuits, the systems, the logic behind machines. While most kids played video games, he wanted to know how the console itself functioned. That curiosity became his first competitive advantage. But like many dreamers, his road to success wasn't paved in gold. When he first started his journey, he didn't have venture capital, big investors, or a global network. What he did have was a powerful mindset, one that valued problem solving over perfection. He believed that innovation didn't have to come from Silicon Valley. It could come from anywhere, even a small home office with a second-hand laptop and a vision. As he entered the world of technology and electronics, he noticed something that others ignored: a growing gap between what consumers wanted and what they could actually afford. Global brands were flooding emerging markets with products that were either overpriced or overcomplicated. He saw this as an opportunity, a chance to build something that offered real value to millions of people who were being left behind by the high-end tech race. That's when the idea for Tech Gadget was born, a company focused on making affordable electronics without compromising quality. Competing with established global giants was no small feat. Imagine going up against multi-billion-dollar corporations with just a small team, limited capital, and pure determination. But Prateek understood something most people overlook. You don't need to start big to think big. He started small, testing ideas, building prototypes, and constantly refining his products based on what people actually needed, not what marketing trends dictated. He listened to customers in emerging markets, studied their habits, and built devices designed for real-world use, reliable, functional, and affordable. Prateek's journey is a masterclass in resourcefulness and vision. He didn't wait for perfect conditions or unlimited funding. He started where he was, with what he had, and focused relentlessly on solving problems. That mindset before money, became the foundation of his empire. It's a reminder that you don't need to be in Silicon Valley to innovate. You don't need to have millions in the bank to start building something meaningful. What you need is clarity of vision, resilience, and the courage to take that first imperfect step. Because in the world of entrepreneurship, it's not the resources that define your success, it's your resourcefulness. Stick around, we're just getting started. There's a lot more lessons for you to learn. While the rest of the world was chasing luxury markets in the West, Prateek was looking in the opposite direction. Where others saw limits, he saw an opening. A massive, untapped opportunity hiding in plain sight. At the time, the global electronics industry was obsessed with prestige. Brands like Apple, Samsung, and Sony were racing to outdo each other with the sleekest designs, premium pricing, and flashy marketing campaigns, all aimed at wealthy consumers in developed nations. But in emerging economies across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, a very different reality existed. Millions of people wanted access to technology, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. They wanted reliable smartphones, smart TVs, and gadgets that could enhance their lives without draining their savings, yet almost no one was serving this audience. The market was dominated by high-end products on one side and cheap, unreliable knockoffs on the other. That's the gap he saw, and he moved fast. He realized that quality and affordability didn't have to be opposites. There was a sweet spot in between, where performance met practicality. That insight became the foundation for Tech Gadget, the Dubai-based electronics company he would build from the ground up. Tech Gadget's mission was simple but powerful: make quality electronics accessible to everyone. He wasn't just selling products, he was creating opportunity, empowering middle-class families, students, and small businesses in developing nations to join the digital revolution. Launching Tech Gadget wasn't easy. Competing with global giants meant facing supply chain barriers, branding challenges, and consumer skepticism. But he played a different game. Instead of trying to outspend his competitors, he outthought them. He focused on localized innovation, designing products that fit the needs and price points of emerging markets. He listened to consumers who had been ignored for years. He streamlined production to cut costs without cutting corners, and he built a brand that stood for trust, durability, and value. Three things that resonated deeply with customers who had been overcharged or underserved by international brands. Over time, Tech Gadget started gaining momentum, first in the Middle East, then across Asia and Africa. The company's growth became a textbook example of identifying an underserved market and moving decisively before others caught on. Prateek's story proves one powerful truth: great businesses are born from gaps. The biggest opportunities aren't always where everyone's looking. They're where people are being overlooked. He didn't chase trends, he chased needs. And by focusing on those who weren't being served, he turned a humble startup into a global success story. In a world obsessed with luxury and excess, he built wealth through empathy, by understanding what real people needed and daring to deliver it. Because sometimes the smartest strategy isn't to compete with the giants, it's to serve the millions they've ignored. Make sure to watch all the way through. You won't believe what we found about the mindset of a billionaire. Every great empire is built on more than vision. It's built on strategy. After spotting the massive gap in emerging markets, Prateek didn't just build a company, he engineered a system for unstoppable growth. Most entrepreneurs make the same mistake when they taste early success. They expand too fast, too wide, and too soon. He didn't. Instead, he built his empire methodically, starting with one smart principle: leverage what you have locally, then scale globally. He understood that to dominate emerging markets, he needed affordability without sacrificing trust. So instead of importing expensive components or relying entirely on foreign factories, he leveraged local manufacturing wherever possible. This not only lowered production costs, but also created jobs and goodwill in the communities Tech Gadget served. At the same time, he invested heavily in global branding, positioning Tech Gadget products with sleek design, modern packaging, and international standards. The result? Products that looked global but felt local. Next came strategic partnerships. Instead of expanding blindly into every new market, he handpicked distributors, retailers, and logistics partners who understood regional nuances. Whether it was Africa, Southeast Asia, or the Middle East, he focused on depth over breadth, building strongholds one market at a time. This approach not only minimized risk, but also maximized loyalty among consumers and business partners alike. But Tech Gadget's rise wasn't just about affordability, it was about innovation. He knew that being cheap was never sustainable. So he focused on creating smartly affordable technology, products that blended performance, design, and price in a way that made sense for everyday consumers. From smart TVs to smartphones, every Tech Gadget device carried one consistent message: quality for everyone. And then came the masterstroke: media strategy. He understood the power of perception in the digital age. He used platforms like Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Yahoo Finance, not just as publicity tools, but as credibility amplifiers. By sharing his story and vision on global media outlets, he positioned himself as the Elon Musk of emerging markets. This powerful personal brand made investors take notice, opened doors to partnerships, and inspired the next generation of entrepreneurs from developing nations. Prateek's growth strategy proves that scaling isn't about doing more, it's about doing smarter. He built his empire on 3 pillars: scalability, partnerships, and personal branding. He showed that when you align purpose with profit and pair innovation with integrity, you can compete with giants without being one. At the end of the day, the genius behind TechGadget wasn't just the technology, it was the strategy. And that's what separates those who build businesses from those who build legacies. Keep watching, because the best part about what you can apply from what you've learned is at the end. What truly separates a billionaire from the average entrepreneur? It's not luck, timing, or even talent. It's mindset. From the beginning, he didn't chase quick profits, he chased permanence. While most startups are obsessed with rapid returns and viral growth, he was focused on the next 20 years, not the next quarter. He built TechGadget like a legacy brand, not a short-term venture. Every decision from manufacturing to marketing was made with longevity in mind. He wasn't interested in being the next big thing. He wanted to be the last man standing. That kind of vision demands discipline, the kind that most people underestimate. He believes that business isn't about chaos and hustle, it's about structure and systems. He practices what he calls strategic discipline, showing up every day with purpose, delegating effectively, and making decisions based on data, not emotion. Where others rely on instinct, he relies on information. That's how he built a company that could scale sustainably without losing its edge. But perhaps one of the most underrated aspects of his mindset is his relationship with money. Unlike many entrepreneurs who let wealth inflate their lifestyles, he reinvests most of his profits back into growth, into better products, new markets, and stronger teams. He sees money as a tool for expansion, not validation. To him, wealth isn't about what you spend, it's about what you build. Beyond the boardroom, his hunger for learning never stops. He reads constantly, studies trends, travels the world, and collaborates with global thinkers. He understands that innovation doesn't happen in isolation. It happens through exposure. Every country he visits, every conversation he has, adds another layer to his global perspective. That curiosity, that refusal to stop learning, keeps him a step ahead of competitors who become complacent once they make it. At its core, Prateek's success is proof of one timeless truth. Your mindset builds your empire more than your product does. Because a great product can make you money, but a great mindset can make you a billionaire. He didn't just think bigger, he thought longer. He didn't just scale his company, he scaled his vision. And that's the real secret behind his rise, a commitment to growth, discipline, and constant evolution. Remember this, when you study the world's wealthiest minds, they're not just playing the game differently, they're playing for the long run. And that's how Prateek turned vision into value and value into a legacy. Don't miss the finale, it's bound to blow your mind. Behind every billion-dollar success story lies a price few are willing to pay. For Prateek, that price was sleepless nights, relentless pressure, and years of proving himself in an industry that doubted him from day one. When he founded TechGadget, he was entering a battlefield dominated by tech giants from China, the US, and Korea, competing with companies that had billion-dollar budgets, global reach, and decades of experience. Was like stepping into a storm, armed with little more than vision and grit. Critics called him naive. Investors doubted that a Dubai-based electronics company could ever stand up to the global elite. But Prateek didn't build TechGadget to impress, he built it to endure. Then came the pandemic, and with it, the ultimate stress test. Global supply chains froze, factories shut down, shipping costs skyrocketed. For a company that depended on efficient logistics and international suppliers, this was a nightmare scenario. Every delay meant losses. Every disruption threatened to undo years of progress. Many startups folded under the pressure, but he refused to quit. He adapted. Instead of waiting for the crisis to pass, he pivoted, diversifying suppliers, strengthening local production, and leveraging digital tools to manage operations remotely. Those months tested everything: his patience, his leadership, and his resilience. But they also proved one thing: TechGadget wasn't just a business. It was a mindset built on adaptability. Still, the challenges weren't only operational, they were personal. As TechGadget grew, so did the criticism and skepticism. Competitors questioned his credibility. Some called his products too ambitious. Others dismissed his brand as just another regional player. But he used every doubt as fuel. Rather than defending himself with words, he let results do the talking. Every new partnership, every new market, every successful product launch was a quiet rebuttal to those who said he couldn't. And throughout it all, he faced the unrelenting competition from Chinese and Western tech giants, companies that could undercut prices, flood markets, and outspend any newcomer. But he understood something they didn't. When giants move fast, they often move without focus. He moved with purpose. While others scaled recklessly, he expanded strategically. One market, one partnership, one success story at a time. Prateek's journey is proof that greatness isn't measured by how quickly you rise, but by how you survive the fall. His success didn't come from shortcuts. It came from adaptability, persistence, and unshakable consistency. He learned that in business and in life, the ones who win aren't the most powerful or the most funded. They're the ones who keep going when everyone else quits. In the end, the price of building an empire isn't failure, it's endurance. And he paid it willingly. What we are about to reveal might just surprise you. Every success story holds a lesson, but the smartest move you can make is turning someone else's lessons into your own roadmap. Prateek's rise from a small town visionary in India to a global tech billionaire is a blueprint for anyone who wants to build something that lasts. First, start small, but think big. He didn't wait for the perfect funding round or a Silicon Valley address. He began with what he had: a laptop, a vision, and the determination to create value where others saw none. He thought globally, even when his resources were local. That mindset is what turns small beginnings into billion-dollar outcomes. No empire starts big, it starts bold. Second, solve a problem. Don't chase trends. While the tech world was busy copying the latest gadgets and chasing hype, he focused on one simple truth: people in emerging markets needed quality electronics at fair prices. He solved a real, long-term problem, not a passing one. That's the difference between building a business that fades and one that endures. Trends make noise, solutions build legacies. Third, build partnerships, not followers. In an age obsessed with social media numbers, he focused on relationships that actually move the needle: suppliers, distributors, investors, and mentors. He knew that influence means little if it doesn't create impact. True success isn't about how many people know you, it's about how many believe in you. Fourth, he mastered one of the most overlooked tools of success: personal branding. By positioning himself as the Elon Musk of emerging markets, he didn't just market his company, he marketed his vision. That image built trust, attracted opportunities, and gave TechGadget global credibility. Your personal brand is your passport. It opens doors long before your product does. Finally, reinvest in growth, not appearance. While others use success as an excuse for lifestyle inflation, he poured his profits back into innovation, infrastructure, and people. He understood that luxury is the result of wealth, not the strategy for creating it. If you want long-term success, Your money should work harder than your ego. What can you learn from Prateek? Wealth isn't built in a straight line. It's built through mindset, method, and momentum. Start where you are. Solve real problems. Build genuine partnerships. Protect your reputation, and let your success speak louder than your lifestyle. The truth is, empires aren't built in boardrooms. They're built in the mind first. And if you apply even a fraction of Prateek's principles, you won't just chase wealth, you'll create it. Ready to create yours? Hit the links in the description and start building today.